think it's okay. Apa?
Yeah, I think everything is okay.
Okay, all right, thank you. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome. Welcome to the webinar of today. I am Eileen Tan from the Center for Marine and Coastal Studies, CIMAX, University Science Malaysia, your host for today's webinar entitled Future Friend or Foe, Handling Our Relationship with Jellyfish in Southeast Asia. The webinar is brought to us by the network of the Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission of UNESCO Subcommission for the Western Pacific, commonly known as IOC Westpac, Penang State Government, University Science Malaysia, University of Malaya, Chiang Mai University, Thailand, Lee Kong Chiang Natural History Museum of Singapore, Daha Husada Hospital, East Java, Indonesia, Toxinology Society of Indonesia, Philippines College of Emergency Medicine, Remote Evaluation Consultancy Services, REX as ASEAN, and Malaysian Society of Toxinology. All of these organizations believe that is very important to share information about jellyfish with the public and create awareness. Therefore, these organizations under the platform of IOC Westpac have come together to present this 2 hours of sharing with all of you. Before we begin, here are some housekeeping rules. Members of the audience with questions can type the questions in the chat box, and we will address all questions if possible together after all the speakers have presented. Please keep your microphone switched off at all times. Thank you for your cooperation in advance. This webinar will be recorded. Now, let me have the honor to introduce the moderator for this webinar. Ms. Ifa Isa is a scientific officer and curator in the Lee Kong Chiang Natural History Museum within the National University of Singapore and US. Her curiosity in jellyfish has led her wandering heart to the Westpac Harmful Jellyfish Workshop 2 years ago. She has learned and passed on knowledge of the medusozoans as far within her limits ever since. Her budding professional interest lies in taxonomy of jellyfish, and she hopes to improve the local jellyfish scientific collection for the future. With this, I pass the session to Ifa. Ifa, please take over the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Eileen, for the wonderful introduction to me and the Westpac Harmful Jellyfish family. Kudos to her and her team for making this happen. Now, onto the subject in question. Jellyfish, gelata, sea jellies, bubur-bubur, kurage, shrimu, mengrakrun. They are referred to by many names. Gelatinous zooplankton are significant players of nature's living, pulsating, intricate fabric. Since the Cambrian era, they have existed, long before we humans even have. They are subjects of beauty, of mystery, and awe, perpetuating curiosity to those who care to notice. Notice them as crunchy delicacies on our plates. Notice them beached on our shores. Notice them as pulsing heartbeats in the aquariums and the seas around us. They are not mere individuals and not mere blooms or aggregations as we would superficially observe, but ecosystems on their own and mediums of life. Their symbiosis and connections with algae, bacteria, fish, echinoderms such as brittle stars, crustacea such as isopods or even juvenile true crabs, and other gelatinous counterparts are fascinatingly complex, and we have only scraped the surface of the iceberg in understanding their existence and role in our lives. However, jellyfish have also presented a multitude of inconveniences in human establishments and have the potential to hurt us when we come in contact with them. So that's what this webinar is really going to be about. How can we manage this relationship as individuals, as countries, and as networks across the region? This will be a conversation of whether or not jellies will be a future friend, a future foe, or is the relationship going to be a lot more complicated than that? Today, we are extremely lucky to have with us a fantastic multidisciplinary lineup of esteemed speakers from the region, and I'm extremely honored to be here witnessing this event and moderating the dialogue. I thank each and every one of you who have come to join us. Without further ado, allow me to introduce our very first speaker, Dr. Muhammad Rizman Edid. Dr. Rizman is currently a senior lecturer in the Institute of Ocean and Earth Sciences, University of Malaya, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. His research projects mainly focus in providing baseline information on diversity and ecology of terrestrial and marine organisms. Most studies employ the molecular genetic techniques such as DNA sequencing for DNA barcoding of resources in natural ecosystems and the application of phylogenetics to answer evolutionary questions. He is also considered the authority of jellyfish biodiversity and ecology in Malaysia, which he began researching since 2010. He has led several national and internationally organized expeditions for biodiversity surveys in marine parks and marine protected areas of Malaysia. He is actively involved in polar research looking into the response and adaptation of climate change on tropical marine fungi and polar fungi. Today, Dr. Rizman will be presenting on the diversity, distribution, and ecology of jellyfish, insights from coastal surveys in Malaysia. Dr. Rizman, please. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Ifa, for that very kind and generous introduction. And I hope for the next 20 minutes, I'll be able to do some justice, not only just for the scientists, but also perhaps for the general public, in order to introduce us all about jellyfish. So let me share my screen. So can you see the screen? Yep, the slides. All right. So thank you very much. So as we know, jellyfish is a very interesting organisms, and I think so far in the world, it is still considered to be underestimated, and yet it is one of the oldest organisms, and I think around about 338 to 383 species estimated globally. But I think based on worms and also information by Collins et al. In 2020, there's only about 221 recognized species. And a lot of most of these species are yet to be discovered, and some studies have shown that a lot of these undiscovered species could be found most probably in the Indo-Pacific region, where we all in Southeast Asia is also included in. Okay. Right. So when we look into Malaysia's situation, I started
Dr. Rizman, sorry, can you switch it to slide? Because we can see your next slide. Thank you.
Okay. How do I?
Dr. Rizman, display settings.
Display settings. It's what presenter? Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, that's perfect.
All right. Okay. Right. So for Malaysia, there's been very few studies that has been conducted in Malaysia. And as I started this work 10 years ago, there's very little documentation, and it was very difficult for us to compare or to verify some of this information. In fact, a lot of surveys that has been done, marine biodiversity surveys, has often missed out jellyfish in their surveys, in their studies. And one thing that I would like to highlight is also that Malaysia is also one of the important exporters of jellyfish, edible jellyfish back then. And unfortunately, there wasn't any documentation, or even the species were not identified even back then. So the problems usually is because many of these species were not properly identified, or I think there was no expertise at that time to identify them. And again, there are a lot of morphological variation, and many times we noted that there's a lot of misidentification, and also sometimes it's difficult to consistently obtain certain species, as some of them are quite seasonal, and this in general made the study a little bit more challenging. It is only also about 10 years ago that suddenly there was a lot more reports about blooms clogging up power stations, and biofouling in fish cages, and also cases of human mortality, yeah, due to jellyfish stings. And these somehow created this sort of impetus to start studying jellyfish in Malaysia. So when we started to look back into some of available data, most of them were toxicological data or toxicological studies, whereby a lot of the species were not properly identified. So based on that sort of knowledge gap, one of the earlier works that I've done was to start off some kind of a sampling or a survey, which we started with a few of my students back in 2008 and 2010, to look into what are the species that we can find in Malaysian waters. So we try to obtain them from the Straits of Malacca, South China Sea, and if we had the opportunity to also obtain some from Sulawesi Sea. And we try to identify them morphologically based on cramp, and also using some molecular genetic techniques, sequencing, and we tried to use several genes for that. And from this initial preliminary survey, we sort of documented 12 jellyfish species. And out of these jellyfish species, 8 were scyphozoans and 2 were actually cubozoans. And of course, if you notice in this map, again, because I'm based in Peninsular Malaysia, so most of the data is more skewed to Peninsular Malaysia. So it doesn't mean that they don't exist elsewhere in other parts of Malaysia. So I think this was one of the first few documentation of the box jellyfish. So we found at this time we couldn't identify them to the species level, so we just identified them as Morbaka, and the other one is Gyropsoides buitendechki. And actually, we also had molecular data for this as well. Other scyphozoans that we are able to find and identify were Acrometus flagellatus, Catostylus townsendi, Chrysaora chinensis. And then again, at that time, even then, I also made a mistake. In that previous publication, we identified it as Cyphia, and later on, we decided to correct it as Nitrostoma. Another species, the edible jellyfish, Lobonomoides robustus, and the lion mane, which we haven't identified to the species level yet. So we only identified it as Cyanea. And others such as Mastigias, and we also have Phylorhiza putata. And the two more famous Rupilema, which are quite abundant in and also seasonal, Rupilema hispidum and Rupilema esculentum, which is also an edible jellyfish. And based on that initial morphological work and coupled with molecular data, and I think it is also with the molecular data that help us to compare some of our sequences with those which were already found in other parts of the world. So in order to establish whether there is any difference between, jellyfish found in the Pacific versus those which are found in the Atlantic. So there are some differences that we managed to find. Here, I just show you some example, just using the CO1. So some of the sequences are able to be identified. But then again, I think at this particular time, not many people sequence their jellyfish. So database was still lacking in terms of jellyfish sequences, which we could use to compare. Again, for this, I was only able to identify it as Mobraca. I think physically, morphologically, we can identify them as Mobraca, but I could not identify the species at this particular point of time because there's no other sequences of Mobraca at that time. And following that, I think we also did the second sort of phase of a survey, whereby in 2010 until 2015, what we wanted to do is to go back and look into those kind of samples to do more intensive and extensive surveys compared with literature search, because at that time, people are starting to publish, and then we are able to look into lots of records and literature, and also to try to consolidate some of this information. So based on this, we had more or less looked into like 37 coastal sites in Malaysia where we know scyphozoans were known to occur. And basically, the black circles indicate sites which we actually went and observed and also collected samples. And the ones with squares are actually those sites that we tend to do more sort of monthly monitoring. And white triangles are only those sites which are only documented in literature, but we were not able to visit or conduct any surveys. Right. So for those sites whereby we do the backnet surveys, so this is what the backnets look like. So usually depending on the tide whereby the jellyfish would be trapped in those nets, so we're able to collect them. So based on this, this more current, I would say more current surveys, we found that there's about 20 species that were identified and verified, and 14 other species were not verified, or at least could be identified only up to the genus level. So those that I sort of circled in purple, those are the 14 unverified species. But from that survey, we actually found two species which from literature has mentioned Scyphia octostilla and Mastilla siderea. However, these two has not been observed for the last 100 years. So we don't know whether they're still in existence or not. But from this survey particularly, we managed to obtain a new record, Vesuriga anadiomeni, for Malaysia, and also Lobonimoides robustus, which most of the time it is not the first record for Malaysia, but we are able to find it on the east coast of Peninsular Malaysia. Okay. So these are some of the pictures of some of the more common species again from this more current sampling. And this is sort of the distribution based on areas that are found in Western Peninsular Malaysia or Eastern Peninsular Malaysia, Southern Peninsular Malaysia, which is in the border across with Singapore, and also between Sabah and Sarawak, which is more in the Bornean side. And if you notice that, again, perhaps most of the survey is more biased towards Peninsular Malaysia. So it doesn't mean that it may not occur, but so far this is what we are reporting. And one thing that we could also see is that a lot of the western side of Peninsular Malaysia, the environment tends to be much more mangrove and also sort of more muddy environment, a lot more sediments, whereas parts of the Eastern Peninsular Malaysia are much more sandy type areas. And also most of the coral reef areas are also located more in the Eastern Peninsular Malaysia. So we had some analysis on that. So we are still trying to see if there is any differences in terms of preference in terms of habitat between different type of species in this type of environment. And during that survey as well, we tried to establish whether do these some of these species, do we consider them as the topic says, friends or foe? So whether they have a positive impact or negative impact, and which species probably there's some benefit that we can exploit from them. And so usually a lot of the problems are highlighting issues about their presence can impede tourism, environmentalization, blocking the power plant operations. But other than that, some of the species have are useful or beneficial, especially in fisheries and also in the aquarium trading, especially for some of the tropical species are known to be exported for the aquarium trade.
Dr. Resman, 5 more minutes.
All right. So, so here are some information about chronological jellyfish bloom incidents in Malaysian waters. So it's not a list of everything, but again, talking about some of the information that we have through media and also and any other documentations. Some of the incidents, especially when it deals with jellyfish stings or lethal stings, many of them are not identified. And we suspect that most of these situations would probably be box jellyfish. Okay, so these are some studies. And other than that, by doing all these kind of surveys, it is also important to note that if we have the opportunity to obtain many samples or doing some population studies, it does improve in terms of understanding the range of variation that we are able to find. So some of these studies whereby we have a lot more samples of Lichnorhiza malayensis, and therefore we are able to provide a little bit more information about the species characteristics compared to those previously described, because they had only very few samples. And again, we can also try to look as part of a way of trying to understand blooms. It will be also interesting to look into the population, whether populations are different, particularly when they're separated by landmass or the oceans are not connected. And so we have some evidence to show that some of these populations can be quite different or morphologically different. So based on trophic ecology, I think it is also just recently started for most of us here. And some of them we're focusing more on trophic ecology, and we found that some species are much more considered as a copepod feeder, or some are copepod and macrozooplankton feeders, and some species also are much more mixed in their feeding habits. And these are based on their stomach content. And also we have done a little bit on stable isotope analysis, and and a lot of the information tells us that they are excuse me, quite high in the trophic guild, and somehow they are sort of connecting between the feeding of microbenthos is one of the more important food source, as what we previously thought that probably since they occur in mangroves, initially we thought they might be eating a lot more of the mangrove detritus, but apparently our data doesn't seem to show this. So in summary, I think what the study has provided is actually some kind of a up-to-date checklist, which again could be very useful for our neighboring countries, especially in Southeast Asia, to begin and start to do some cross-referencing and cross-checking on their samples. And of course, and we will benefit from all of this collaboration. And again, as I said, even in Malaysia, waters in Sabah and Sarawak are still not being sampled, and therefore these are opportunities for future work that needs to be done. And I think again, with reference to box jellyfish, I think a lot more work needs to be done, because I'm sure there's more specimens and more species which are still not being described. And again, with issues of jellyfish stings, there is a need for increased awareness, especially if we can incorporate citizen science into this kind of studies. And last but not least, there is still a lot of studies needed, especially in terms of the ecology, so that we are able to understand the bloom patterns, particularly for tropical species, which are still not well understood. So with that, I'd like to thank and acknowledge our grant providers from the Ministry of Science, and also thank our host for organizing this webinar.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Rizwan, for the insights in Malaysia's experience and progress in understanding diversity and ecology of tropical jellyfish. Now, yes, we have a question here by, let's see, by Chiho. Is the Linucci species described in the study confirmed to be Unguiculata?
Pardon?
If you look at the chat, she's asking about the Linucci, the thimble jellyfish. So
Yeah.
So
The Linucci, yeah. Is the Linucci species described in the study confirmed to be Linucci ungulata? As the species already. Well, again, we're not too sure about that. So for the time being, we are following with Ungulata. But again, a lot of this we still need to do molecular sequencing. So I think that is again a lot of the issues that we find. You know, sometimes morphologically we can't really zoom in, and I think we would like to. Yeah.
We would need like a lot of specimens for comparison as well.
Comparisons, yeah.
Yes. Okay, so we have another question by Professor Kabansak, who says, in your opinion, which is the best identification field guide would you recommend to be used around Southeast Asia?
Well, so far, I think, again, in the beginning, I've used CRAM, but for the time being, I know that Jams and Morandini has published a much more recent book about World Atlas of Jellyfish. So I think that to date, that would be much more an appropriate reference to be used for the time being. But nevertheless, a lot of data are still, are being sort of unpublished. I think a lot of the problems, especially in our region, you can find them in maybe fisheries report, fisheries bulletin, and sometimes you just have to dig them up and look through, and then sometimes you might find insight about how accurate the identifications are. So I think for now, I would follow with Jams and Morandini 2020.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Risman. We don't have enough time, so let's introduce our next speaker. Our next speaker is the head of the Department of Emergency Medicine in Daha Husada Hospital, East Java, Indonesia, Dr. Tri Maharani. Dr. Maha is an emergency medicine specialist and also an advisor of the World Health Organization on snake bites and the president of the Toxinology Society of Indonesia. While most of her past works are on snake envenomation, her interest in toxinology in general brought her compassionate character to the Westpac harmful jellyfish family last year to discuss the impacts of jellyfish in the Indonesian archipelago. Dr. Maha recently recovered from COVID-19, and we are very happy to have her with us today, presenting on jellyfish cases in Indonesia, the data and the problems. Dr. Maha, please.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. In Indonesia, this time is the 1 p.m. time. Okay, I'm share the condition about jellyfish in Indonesia. Sorry, I'm have mask because I am recovering from the COVID-19. I'm survivor COVID-19, and now I will to share the condition of Indonesia. Please, my presentation, Eva, can you help me to share my presentation?
Sim?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. can you help me to share my presentation?
Yes, Sim is working on it, I believe.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I share about jellyfish in Indonesia data and problem. Okay, next. It's a map of Indonesia and the nokta, the black nokta to the location jellyfish in Indonesia. But you know, Indonesia, a big country with over than 17,000 islands and 270 million people. And it's difficult to the cases of the jellyfish. And neglected cases, jellyfish, I think many here, the problem in Indonesia not to the exposed because neglected cases. Okay, next. It's mapped to Chironek Dictionary map. But you know the blue area, all blue area is Indonesia. And the other area of Malaysia, Singapore, Philippines, Australia, and the other. But the all Indonesia. But the data and information about cases of Chironek Dictionary very little. I am first time to people consultation and contact me about the jellyfish in 2017. Until now, I have a little information about the Chironek flexneri because it's very difficult information and many cases death in the location and not go to the hospital. It's very difficult to have information. Okay, next. Yeah, I have data from the one of the published data in 2018, I think, to the location of the jellyfish. But the data is the research from the food and the other creation and innovation about jellyfish, not the cases jellyfish. And I look this time and session and region. It's very important to know many doctor and many people because the information about jellyfish very little in Indonesia. You look to specific location. The specific location is Borneo, is Sumatra, Java, and the many island in all Indonesia. I think the publication very important to doctor and the many people. Okay, next. I have many information from the newspaper, and one of the publication from Mujiono, I think the first publication about jellyfish. I meet Mujiono from the Indonesia researcher, but the information about jellyfish from the newspaper, not from the hospital and not from the doctor. I think it's the difficult problem in my country. Okay, next. I have detection from sick problem in my country. One problem is data. You know, the offer from the 17,000 island and many area is very difficult to collecting data. And 2 years, I am to speak many doctor and associated doctor from Indonesia to help me to collecting this data. And 2020, I'm collaborated with Dr. Widi from the Bali. I think you know the last year come to the Penang also to the collecting data. I think Bu Widi come in this webinar also. And the two problem in Indonesia, jellyfish is neglected cases and not program Ministry of Health in Indonesia. And it's difficult to have data, difficult have to the guideline and the antivenom. Until now, Indonesia guideline only one. I make this guideline with the F and D from Indonesia, the book, but not the socialization all Indonesia, only Jabodetabek, Jakarta and around Jakarta only. And I think not many people know this guideline from Jellyfish Indonesia. And many health workers don't have skill and knowledge about jellyfish cases, jellyfish treatment, and first aid of jellyfish. And I think all ASEAN country have problem about traditional first aid. Same Indonesia. In Indonesia, have many traditional first aid, and traditional first aid not have evidence base and give many bad condition to patient with the jellyfish. And the sick problem is antivenom not available. Yeah, I think it's difficult because no program from the Ministry of Health in Indonesia. I meet my minister last year in the 30 December 2019. I hope he make this program. He agree with my information and the other, but COVID come to my country and cancel and all the program. And now my country focus priority of the COVID-19. And I hope COVID-19 and my country will finish. And all the other problem, I think, include jellyfish to have to program in Ministry of Health. Okay, next. Yeah, I have data and information from the newspaper and the media, social media. I have many cases. I have the cases is West Java and the East Java and all the island from Java. And I collecting this data to calculate this victim of the jellyfish. I collecting from 2013, yeah, until now. But I go to the cases of the jellyfish in 2019. I go to the center of Java, Jogja, the 3 beach, but in Jogja, 30x beach, very many beach in Jogja. I think many cases jellyfish about the blooming in the June until July. Many people come, especially this year, because this year is COVID-19 and no people go to the out of the home and not go to the beach. Okay, I have next. Yeah, this condition about the many beaches in Jogja and around of the center of Java is the blooming of blue bottle jellyfish. Many victims from the jellyfish. Okay, next. Yeah, I have good data. The real data, I think it's the first data from Indonesia. I'm collaboration with WIDI and this team from the University of Udayana to collecting and calculate this victim of the jellyfish, especially blue bottle jellyfish in center of Java and East Java and Bali. It's the result from from the training and Penang. I'm collaborating with the WIDI to give data because I know the data is very important to my government have policy to reduction cases of jellyfish in Indonesia. You look this data. The data from the blue bottle jellyfish 2019 until 2020 very high, and I know only I think the all bids over than 50 bids because I have data less from 30 bids. It's very little data, but the data is very highest from the victim of the jellyfish. Okay, next. And the three problems to the no program Ministry of Health is the last Minister of Health. I meet her in the 2018. He come to my university in Malang and meet me and speak about snake bite. And now the new minister and I speak about jellyfish, about the snake bite and neglected case, other neglected case. I hope Indonesia have program to reduction neglected case because Indonesia is very big country and very big two cases neglected case include jellyfish. Okay, next. Yeah, it's the book. I'm wrote this book in the 2016 from FDA Indonesia. Covered include the jellyfish treatment, jellyfish first aid, snake bite, and the other. And but not exclusive to jellyfish, but many toxin, nature toxin, and the other. Okay, next. To give update from the head worker, skill and knowledge about the jellyfish and the other venomous animal, I make the training. I go to the location, it's the center of Java, the Jogja. I go to the Trenggalek, East Java, and many victim of the jellyfish and training the fire guard and training the doctor and the nurses in mini hospital and the community in the location. It's very difficult because change the mindset from the traditional first aid, traditional treatment to the medical treatment. It's not easy. I think the many years Indonesia much to the working to the training and the education about change the mindset to medical. Okay, next. It's the traditional first aid in Indonesia. You look the hot water, very hot water. Not 14 degrees, but the hot water. And the salt, urine, tobacco, and the ethyl chloride. You know, many fire guard in the beach have give the patient ethyl chloride. It's the cool to the patient, but not treatment. Yeah, I think many traditional first aid in all beaches in Indonesia, and to change this mindset is very difficult.
Dr.
Okay, next.
4 minutes.
Next. Yeah. Okay. Next. Yeah. Next. Yeah. Indonesia Toxicology gave donation to vinegar to the many beaches because in Indonesia the vinegar is 25%. To the make the 5% must give the water and the other. And I must to training the doctor and the nurses to make the 4% vinegar. And I go to many pits to training this doctor. It's free training, not the payment from the doctor or the nurses, but free, because I know many doctor and nurses in the peripheral area not enough money to buy many treatment to give free to patient. Next. Yeah, it's education, first aid, many newspaper to help me also to give education, first aid to jellyfish. Okay, next. Yeah, next. I give the poster to many beads. I give free also to the mini hospital, doctor and nurses and community, fire guard and the other to give poster from me. And you look this photo, because the many beads are different jellyfish, and I must look the health worker and community about this jellyfish in this area and this location. Okay, next. Yeah, and the very big problem is the antivenom not available in Indonesia. If I have the serious problem, I must buy to patient and not supported, but from my government. And I speak to my minister to buy it, because many cases death in Indonesia. Okay, next. Next. Yeah, it's a blue bottle jellyfish. I go to the Indonesia center of Java. I go to the East Java to look this blue bottle and collecting this blue bottle. Okay, it's the South Beach and the Java, and South Beach and the Java all a sort of peace. And the June until July, blooming of blue bottle jellyfish. Okay. Next. Yeah, next. You look the many blue bottle. Yeah, okay, next. Yeah, it's the victim of the blue bottle jellyfish. The pain and one or until 5 cases go to the hospital, because deep snow and the very pain and the anaphylaxis also, because many people give traditional treatment and the wrong treatment to this patient. Okay, next. Yeah, and the 2018, Ancol and the Jakarta, the capital of Indonesia, have problem because there's this many blubber jellyfish, and the Indonesia researcher and me give the education from the community and from the media to give not panic from many people go to the beach. Okay, okay. Next is the jellyfish and the ancol. Okay, next. Yeah. Both jellyfish in Indonesia, I think, if I look this map, many cases, but not go to the hospital. Next. Yeah, next. Now, I have the information, and the 2008 and 2017 and 2019 have the victim death in the Madura Island and the Situbondo and East Java near Madura. I think one researcher from the Jember gave me information. He looks the two box jellyfish in the Situbondo. I think if the many researcher to have researcher to box jellyfish to go to this location and have the many sample specimen and go to the many community to look this condition about the many victims of box jellyfish is dead because dead. Okay, next. Yeah, and Indonesia have the one island, the very famous island to the tourism is the Derawan Island with the beautiful jellyfish in the Derawan Island in the Borneo, the location. Okay, next. Next. Yeah. One of the publication from the University of Hasanuddin in the Sulawesi have the research about potential for raw material of food and drug from jellyfish. And yeah, I know because the many jellyfish in the Sulawesi, I think this research and this publication about many jellyfish in this area. Okay, I think the end of my presentation. It's my condition in Indonesia because data and the other problem in Indonesia. Thank you, Eva.
All right, thank you, Dr. Maha. Can I ask the floor if there are any questions for Dr. Maha? We have a few minutes to spare before our next speaker. Right. Dr. Risman posed a question. Is there a coordinated effort in Indonesia to sample from various islands? For example, blue bottles from Sumatra, Java, Bali, etc. Dr. Maha?
Yeah. After I go to Penang and meet many researchers from Indonesia, Bu Widi, Mas Rido from Indonesia researcher, we have to the planning to the collecting this specimen. And now I have specimen, Bu Widi from the Bali, I have from the East Java, and the team from the Bu Widi from the Jogja. I have my team from Jogja and West Java also. I think this year I'm collecting specimen and Bu Widi have trial to the research to the I think to the genomic because the laboratory of Bu Widi to can detective of the genomic. I think if I have information, have the genomic from the jellyfish and the other, Indonesia have the information about it. Yeah. Eva, I don't have it.
Oh, apologies. Right. Right, as I was saying to the audience, please feel free to type in any of your questions if you have any in the chat box, and we will all address them at the end of the presentation when we have the time. So up next, we have Dr. Patrick Joseph Tiglau, who will be presenting on jellyfish impact to health, the Philippines experience. He graduated Bachelor of Science in Biology at the University of the Philippines, Manila, took his medical school at the University of the City of Manila, and had his residency training at the Philippine General Hospital. He is also an emergency medicine consultant and currently one of the board of directors of the Philippine College of Emergency Medicine. His affiliations would include regional hospitals in Tacloban and Bacolod City. Currently, Dr. Patrick is a council member of the ASEAN Remote Envenomation Consultancy Services, steering the clinical toxinology scene in the ASEAN region. A biologist by heart and a physician by profession, Dr. Patrick, please, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon. To present okay. So good afternoon. I'm Dr. Tiglau, the Philippines, and I'm to have a talk regarding jellyfish impact of the Philippines experience. So I have no conflict of interest. And here are my points. The objectives of my talk be to describe the current status of venom in the Philippines and to state the impact of jellyfish stings on public health. We know that the Philippines is archipelago and comprising of 3 main islands. We have 7,641 islands. 3 of these are main islands, and we have a population of 100 million, similar to almost similar to Indonesia. We are number 13 in the list of countries by population, and the median age is around years old. The Philippines is rich in natural resources and flora and fauna. In fact, the Philippines is the global epicenter in biodiversity, considered as part of the core center of marine biodiversity, and the center of this center is in the Philippines. We have jellyfish species, according to Light and Mayer. There are 30 species of Siphomidaceae and 7 species of Cubomidaceae. No accurate information on jellyfish distribution and abundance is noted. Jellyfish species used for tourism. In fact, in Ducas Grandes, Surigao del Norte, the Mastitis and Oriel species are some of the highlights in your tour. On the other hand, economy is also helpful for jellyfish. They are being for export as a fresh jellyfish or dried jellyfish. In March, there was a jellyfish bloom in Coron, Palawan, and this triggered some of the questions for scientists why there is jellyfish bloom. According to one of our distinguished or experts in jellyfish, the jellyfish numbers and occurrence of blooms follow a pattern of natural oscillations. Those Palawan are called tomato jellyfish. Jellyfish species are Cubomidaceae Chironex species that are reported by local fishermen that are more common in July to September. However, not is and Southcott in 1965, there are jellyfish stings and envenoming. That includes the major island Luzon and Visayas. Most of these cases are not reported. They are just tip of the iceberg. Giving just examples of the cases that were referred to us are those sea bears around last July, last 2018 in Cebu, where most of the affected ones are those who joined the triathlon. Lapu-Lapu species were noted to be lineage species. There are also species which has jellyfish, box jellyfish, like in the tourist spots like Coron, Palawan, and Negros, Porton, Palawan, Anes. But the primary effects of box jellyfish and venoming due to cardiac toxicity, and most of the culprit is Chironex species, Chironex fleckeri, venom that may affect respiratory function. Of cases of death are children. One of those are the one who died in Digos City, which is in Mindanao. Another one is the controversial one in Camarines Sur last 2018, which garnered a lot of media attention. And another one was noted in the Facebook, which is in Quezon Province. Deaths from jellyfish envenoming are being reported through news and social media, and most of them are children, some young adults, and a pregnant woman, as we had in our data. The more important one is not only the physical effects that this jellyfish sting had done to this patient, but also the psychological effect. We had a lot of data from the National Poison Management Control Center, located in Philippine General Hospital, where we had a lot of cases of adult cases report jellyfish stings. From the Philippine Statistics Authority, we noted some of some deaths recorded from 2006 to 2018. Apparently, it's currently picking up around 12 to 14 cases per year, deaths per year, mostly males. This death from envenoming, how we gather this data when our medical professionals even don't know that there's death from envenoming? With the advent of the antivenom, which is available in the Philippines, what can we do to prevent these deaths? Public health aspects would include there's a lack of accurate statistics on reported cases. Most of them are being reported through social media or even not reported because there's a downtime from the community down to the hospitals where the patient dies and never arrive at the hospital. The second one is cultural beliefs and local superstitions. Some of the cures being done to these patients would include herbal medicines, some hot sand, or even coconut milk or coconut oil, even Coca-Cola. Some of them use different kinds of substances just to relieve the pain. And more importantly, even our physicians are not adept on how to manage these cases. They are not trained for envenoming. Must be three factors to consider, which includes the people, the partners, and the policies and the politics. And I think these are the three P's that should be considered in alleviating all these debts and in preventing all these debts. World Economic Forum 2019 indicated that the Philippines is the lowest rank in health, 102nd in overall, and most of the things that we are being done, health policies are temporary remedy. They are just band-aid solutions. The WHO Universal Health Coverage dictates that there should be three factors to consider: physical accessibility, financial affordability, and acceptability, and should all be coinciding with each other to have this universal health coverage. Unfortunately, in the Philippines, the community still stands somewhat not modern and use these blankets to deliver patients from one hospital to another. The WHO recently released a emergency care system framework which dictate that there should be management with the scene down to the transport into the facility, giving us the idea of putting the community first, because community is the frontliner in the healthcare system. Hence, the REX ASEAN, or Remote Envenomation Consultancy Services, through the efforts of Dr. Khaldun, which objective is to enhance favorable outcome by optimizing and advocating appropriate treatment modalities at all levels of patient care. We cater envenoming, and they consult through either telemedicine or through online messaging, or we advise them to seek medical consult if it needs antivenom therapy. The media public health education plays a major role since it's a source of correct information and advocate for correct behaviors. Across the globe, the public health promotion activities focus on health education to influence health behavior of the target audiences, and this plays a major role in disseminating health information and increasing awareness about health education. And in the Philippines, since we are the center of social media like Facebook all over the world, we adopted through this educational approach of using social media to gather data or even educate people, like the Wild Talks PH, REX consultancy services. And of course, the Philippine Jellyfish Stings Project was headed by Sheldon Boko, which garnered a lot of data collection on some cases of jellyfish stings all over the Philippines. Have through YouTube, like the Wild Talks PH, and also through the REX ASEAN, we already released some of the posters for the proper uh, uh, first aid for fish stings. There should be two for all. Safety in a seeking behavior. Preventive such as putting signage is a very helpful one, especially in the Philippines. Having seen one, in Marabot Summer, it makes me happy because at least they're taking into consideration the health and the safety of their. This one is I think right after we had the community engagement with this community of operators already put signage on warning signs and how to have first aid for jellyfish stings. And then one on the some through conducted workshops and seminars in toxinology, which includes venoming. We trained emergency physicians and other community physicians, nurses, fish things. We had a lot of that in the east. This one is all in EVRMC, and we also conducted workshops in southern Philippines in Mindanao. We had trained a lot of doctors and community health workers as well. For the pre-hospital care management for the EMTs within the Luzon area. And it was one of the most promising activities we had is in Karamoan Tour Guides and Movement. We call it the workshop for because of reactive workshop because of the death of the young who died from the jellyfish. So because of that, we trained them how to do STAR because people doesn't know how to say well. On Lambat Island, where we had trained even I think 3 or 4 shamans, or we call it albalarios for that. These are we what we tried to change their belief on those and even the tropical I mean or live or were educated of what they or listen to. And this one is just recently, I think October last year in Marabot Summer. Marabot Summer is one of the had the most cases of jellyfish sting, venoming, and deaths. We even had some deaths from a young boy who arrived at the hospital, sudden arrival. Our group also have interagency collaboration. Of course, we attended the IOC Westpac to inculcate some medical side to it, and of course, through the help of RP, through the Diving Commission, which I think we have programs of putting in lectures or workshops for divers and some tourist spots. We also, yes, we also attended some of the conferences and to some researches on case reports on jellyfish, like the FIMS convention and the AMSEM last 2018. So the current researches in the jellyfish in the Philippines would be by Liberty Agata Densing, which includes determining the species of composition and morphologic characteristics of the Nidaria species in Caraga Bay, which is Marabut is part of, and recording some anecdotal experiences of jellyfish envenoming. Another one is one of our experts, soon to be a PhD from the University of Griffin, who will just, I think, finishing the research. Sheldon, he's also the lead for the Philippine Jellyfish Sting project. So some challenges and opportunities would to consider include the scarcity of data, studies and research on jellyfish and jellyfish sting envenoming. We had the lack of cohesive healthcare system to deliver these services, since most of the we are an island country, so transferring patients from one island to another would be a problem. The availability, adequacy, and accessibility of standard treatment of envenoming, which includes the antivenom, which we don't have, and medications, and of course, take into consideration the training of the healthcare professionals in treating these diseases. Adequate support and funding from the government agencies for scientific research. Most of the researches are not translational, meaning we wanted translational research to have good clinical outcomes. This would help in alleviating or preventing these incidences to happen as well. So exchange of multidisciplinary information, epidemiologists, the chemists, biologists, immunologists, medical clinicians, and others working in the field are essential for this to work. And the only thing more tragic than a death is a death that can't be prevented, which a jellyfish sting can be prevented. Let's take a look on the preventive side rather than the curative side, and that is one of the most important one that we consider in the community. References, and this is my Westpac family with Professor and Salamat. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Patrick. It was definitely a unique sharing that sheds light on the need to adopt management strategies with a local twist. We have a few questions for you, Dr. Patrick. So
Yes.
Donna asks, how can one be a member of the organization, the Remote Envenomation Consultancy Services?
Yeah, okay. So I think I know this girl. The Rex community or the Rex ASEAN are mostly doctors because it's a consultancy services, but we also have a group for non-physicians. So part of this is, of course, Marvin, uh, uh, Rap, and who already went to our courses and help us for the workshops. I think it's more of the volunteerism that should be considered rather than the profession you are into. So all are welcome to join because this is a life-saving community. Okay.
All right. So thank you, Dr. Patrick. She also asked, how do you coordinate with the government in delivering talks or information relevant for the public? And if they want to invite you to deliver a seminar or talk about emergency medicine, how do they contact you for this? Yes, for that matter.
Yes, for that matter, we have a Facebook account, the Rex Philippines, or we even have the email account. You can contact us anytime. Rex Philippines, rexpinas@gmail.com. I'll just flash it later. Or for those who want to just contact me or message me, so I can give you the link. Most of the invitation that we are getting are from poison control centers. So we are currently partnering with a lot of poison control centers because it's a collaboration in the specialists and the experts on these things like envenoming.
Okay.
And yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
So Jerome asks if we have any plans in crafting or printing of wide and far-reaching manual on first aid treatments on jellyfish stings, especially catering to those in the coastal areas without internet access.
Yeah. Yes, I think it's part of the Westpac project, which we are currently doing. But because of the COVID-19, most of the communication had been I mean, dwindling. And but we are currently making on the run of doing the first aid manual, especially for those communities.
Thank you very much. All right, that has been really great. We are ahead of time, so but we will move on to the next speaker. If you guys have any more questions, when we have time at the end of the presentation, we will address those as well. Okay, so our last speaker is Professor Dr. Lakana from the Chiang Mai University, CMU, Thailand. Being a professor in the Community Medicine Department, just to make sure I'm on, Faculty of Medicine in the CMU is only one of the many professional hats that she dons. Professor Lakana's expertise includes not only advising the community on the marine envenomation threats to human health, she is also active in epidemic response management and emergency preparedness in a wide range of diseases. Tackling topics such as air pollution and obesity are not new to her. Professor Lakana's dedication to managing novel threats to the society has been unyielding throughout her medical profession as an epidemiologist, using methods such as sound therapy, music therapy, and strategic thinking development. Today, we are extremely lucky to have Professor Dr. Lakana share with us on how to turn the lethal jellyfish controversial health threat with conflicts of interest into international solutions. Professor Lakana, please.
Hi, can you hear me? สวัสดี
Yes.
ค่ะ Good afternoon in Thailand. So I think you have very serious topic now. Just go easy and like watching something very non-professional. First of all, I would like to share my slide, and I will have 2 videos. Okay. Can you see like the presentation one, right? Okay. The key is how to turn this controversial thing. I have a clue in my pictures. See, and then I will talk later on about this one. So most the one that have a large impact, even injury and death, or even digital gangrene is among the box jellyfish group. So I would like to present some video. Can you share my video?
Yes, Professor, we can see your video on screen. Maybe you want to just press play. I think.
เปียกส่งคนเข้ามาหน่อย
แมงกะพรุนเกิดมาเป็นนักฆ่าและพิษของมันสามารถฆ่ามนุษย์ได้ใน2 นาที
ไม่เชื่อไม่มีใครตาย
ดำน้ำมาเป็น10 ปีเราก็เลยยังไม่รู้นะว่ามันมีแมงกะพรุนที่ทำให้ตายได้ด้วย
ก็ไม่เคยได้ยินว่าแมงกะพรุนทำให้คนถึงกับเสียชีวิตได้
Really die
Yeah
Really
The toxin is yes
So toxic
Yeah
เสียงครวญด้วยความโศกเศร้าของญาติกับการจากไปของเหยื่อที่ถูกแมงกระพรุนกรอบมัจจุราชใต้ทะเลแรงฤทธิ์ที่เกาะพะงันจังหวัดสุราษฎร์ธานี
มีคุณหมอพจมานจากกระทรวงสาธารณสุขอะค่ะเขาตามมาบอกว่าเนี่ยมีแมงกะพรุนพิษที่ทำให้ตายได้ด้วยก็สงสัยว่ามันทำให้ตายได้จริงหรือ
ตัวนี้อะไรทางมันจะติดหนังโดนเลย
แล้วก็พยายามจะเก็บข้อมูลต่างๆ เพื่อเป็นหลักฐานแล้วก็ลงไปสืบสวนสอบสวนว่าเนี่ยมีอยู่จริง
นี่เลยที่ว่าก็พังงานที่ว่าคนไทย
ใช่ใช่เชือกของเรามีไหมของ
มี
เรามี
กัน
ไหม
หน่อยนะ
ตัวมันขนาดไหนอะ
ลูกจอกกินน้
จอกนะก็เจอทุกปีหรือเปล่า
ำถึงฤดูของ
ย่า
มั
ง
น
นู้นเลยย่าง
ฤดูของมันช่วงไหนนะ
รุมเลย
มาสมมันก็เหลือมเดือน7 เดือน 8 เดือน 9 เดือน 10 ตามที่เดือนได้เลยใช่ไหมเด็กนั้นมันลงไปปลดอวดใช่ไหมเพราะว่าทุกว่าเด็กมันขึ้นมามันเน้นใช่ไหมแต่คือมันคายอยู่เลยใช่ไหมเด็กนั้นเดี๋ยวมันตายเหมือนกัน
หลังจากพิสูจน์แล้วขั้นตอนถัดไปเราจะทำยังไงให้เขานำองค์ความรู้เนี่ยเป็นเรื่องของการป้องกันเพราะมันเป็นเรื่องใหม่ของประเทศไทยอะค่ะแล้วก็ประเด็นถัดไปก็คือหลังจากนั้นมาปีหลังๆเราจะขยายไปถึงแนวนโยบายได้ยังไงนะคะ
นักท่องเที่ยวสาวชาวเยอรมันเสียชีวิตเพราะถูกพิษของแมงกะพรุนกล่องหลังลงเล่นน้ำที่เกาะสมุย
ช่วงนั้นน่ะมันมีการตายในชาวต่างชาติอะซึ่งเป็นเรื่องละเอียดอ่อนมาก ตามหลักของมาตรฐานสากลเนี่ยเขาให้มีการเตือนกัน คือเราคงทำให้คนไม่ตายเนี่ยไม่ได้ แต่ถ้ามีการเตือนมีการป้องกันเฝ้าระวังอะไรต่างๆเนี่ยเขายอมรับได้ค่ะ ซึ่งการป้องกันเนี่ยเป็นเรื่องที่ง่ายแล้วก็ถูก แล้วก็ประเด็นว่าถ้าทำให้ตายได้มีการป้องกันแบบนี้ได้เนี่ยทำไมเราไม่ทำ
สำนักระบาดวิทยากระทรวงสาธารณสุขร่วมกับแพทย์ระบาดวิทยาจากภาควิชาเวชศาสตร์ชุมชนคณะแพทยศาสตร์มหาวิทยาลัยเชียงใหม่ร่วมกันศึกษาแก้ไขปัญหาการบาดเจ็บจากแมงกระพรุนพิษในประเทศไทยตั้งแต่ปีพุทธศักราช 2551 ซึ่งมีแนวโน้มเพิ่มขึ้นทุกปีในช่วงฤดูกาลท่องเที่ยว
Okay, I would like to switch to my presentation of this video. Can you go back to my presentation? Okay, can you see this one? So the situation when we began over 10 years ago is that it's difficult and complex. Thailand has scanty data and knowledge. For the fatal case of foreigner is bring to political and diplomatical sensitive and to media attention. International media's perceive that Thailand ignore and conceal the problem. And also in Thailand, experts deny the existence. All the stakeholders, we have the conflict of interest. The traditional practice could lead to death. And health personnel misperceived and misdiagnosed the cases. We lack of expert laboratory and entire genome. So the goal to solve this problem is step by step, based on the situation. So first of all, we would like to prove the existence of litter box jellyfish, and then assess the magnitude of the problem, and develop the knowledge of detection, treatment, and prevention, and to finally implement prevention measures. So how we did it? We developed an initiative solution and executed it. The leading team come from Dr. Pachuman Suri Aryaporn from the Ministry of Public Health, and I start this initiative solution. There are 5 key strategies. First, knowledge sharing, including proving, developing, innovating. Second, early warning and rapid response, which include establish surveillance system and network, and develop outbreak investigation and prevention measures. Third, effective intervention methods include community engagement and practical innovation. Fourth, we ensuring the sustainability. This one include policy commitment, community and society engagement. All 4 key strategies need this fifth, the evidence-based management. So our target audience include policymakers, partnership and stakeholders, communities and general population. So here are the summaries of the results in the past decade. We established injury and deaths caused by toxic jellyfish surveillance system. We established the toxic jellyfish networks. There were 3 networks: working group, experts, communities. We can prove lethal jellyfish envenomation exists in Thailand. It affected population in national and international levels. My former patient, Chiang Mai University student, discovered a new species in Thailand we call Chilonix intrasaxity suturitgun. We created and produced a variety of educational materials that are appropriate for each target audience, include a video clip and even documentary film shooting from the Discovery Network group. We disseminated scientific materials via many institutes and websites, including for the general population. I wrote the blog, the easy language one. And among the social networks, they use like Line or social media. So, for example, here you can see that they caught the jellyfish and sent to the Line. And if they want brochure and everything, they can download and send the link from to the internet. And this one is that we train traditional style of warning sign, which is very scary and know nothing, to the new style, like educational warning sign, which contain how to knowledge and positive message in many languages. And we develop risk communication for target audience, providing seminar, training, consultation to all target groups that need, even general population who live or reside near the beach. And we wrote a textbook. The first one is whatever we find and experience, we wrote a book. The latest one is in the electronic book. We conduct many research and also publish to use to convince all the experts. You can download from the internet. And as a National Working Committee of Envenomation Marine Animal, I share my experience, my reference, my investigation to the committee, and we develop clinical practice guideline, which is available this year. And when they have the public concern, I also give the recommendation and also risk communication via the mass media. Even for the international impact, when they have the problem about anything, they sometimes contact via telephone or sometimes via the email for consultation. And also we support communities to innovate on vinegar first aid station and stinging net models using available resources, because they are the first one who see the patient, you know. Even you call the emergency service, this one the injured can die within 2 minutes. So the most important people is the one who near the beach. Okay, this is a prototype of Australian of vinegar pole from Australia. This is Thailand homemade. It's very cheap, like $7. The first vinegar first aid pole installed in Gomat Island. And right now, even the communities and many ministries install and distribute along the coast of Thailand. And here is the prototype of stinger net from Australia, which is very good and expensive. So we start with Thailand first model stinger net. With this one is a fisherman. And we improve and we share this knowledge to others. And we have the second stinger net models. This one, if you know, a very famous one, Full Moon Party in Thailand. Yeah, they have a dead case here. So right now we have the stinger net model, which is cheaper. and we monitor, maintain, evaluate, and improve this one. And because no one knows how to use this stinginess, so I innovate another stinginess side because they sit on the top or something like that. So easy side. And for early warning and rapid response, we develop a vacuum secreted technique for identification of toxic jellyfish classes. Because if you know only classes, you can treat, have the first aid for the patient. When compared with the high technology like fluorescent microscope, the picture from the mobile phone have the same quality. So even a non-health personnel can conduct this technique and consult me via the social media. So this one is nematocysts from the box jellyfish that attack from the patient, and they use a microscope and send and ask for another recommendation and advice. Even villager like fishermen and trader can collect specimen for us. This is from the fish net, and they send to the nurse, and the nurse can do this test and consult me via the network group. So this simple, we can transfer knowledge from professional to professional or even to non-professional one, very easy one. For sustainable, policy commitment is important. The third memorandum of understanding have very high number of institutes involved. Ministry of Tourism and Sport launch safety campaigns based on our experience. Challenge, yes, there are challenge and good practice in established partnerships with stakeholders. If you see this spray, we have no enemy. We turn enemy into our friend and supporter. See? And tourists give good feedback to us, and they accept the risk and appreciate what we have been done for them. They keep on returning to Thailand. Even during intervention, they can get involved in checking the extinction net. So it's like a fun and another way of give education. I think people recognize our work and give us many awards. Since 2014, in Good Engagement Thailand Biscuit Study in 2015, and others award, and the last one is 2 years ago. In conclusion, the initiative solution have 5 key strategies, and this one lead to develop or contribute and support to new knowledge, practical innovation, risk communication, and policy. For more detail, step by step of each period, each era, what we have done, you can read from the books, which is available this year. And another about 3 minutes video I would like to share with you. Can you see the video now?
องค์ความรู้ที่ถูกต้องจึงเป็นสิ่งสำคัญที่นำ
Prof. Lakana, you have 5 minutes left.
Okay, I have 3 minutes video.
Okay. The video is not up yet.
องค์ความรู้ที่ถูกต้องจึงเป็นสิ่งสำคัญที่นำไปสู่ องค์ความรู้ที่ถูกต้องจึงเป็นสิ่งสำคัญที่นำไปสู่แนวทางในการรักษาและเฝ้าระวังป้องกันการบาดเจ็บและเสียชีวิตจากแมงกระพรุนพิษด้วยวิธีการปฐมพยาบาล
Can you see the video?
ต้องและเหมาะสม
ช่วยยังไงที่จะไม่ทำให้มันรุนแรง
จึงควรมีการ
I think Professor Lakana is having a bit of a technical difficulty.
ผมพยาบาล
So please, thank you for your patience.
พยาบาล
Thank you for the questions. Please keep them coming so that we can ask Professor Lakana later.
สำคัญที่นำไปสู่ทั่วไปที่พักอาศัยทำมา
We have 2 questions. Yeah.
การสื่อสารความเสี่ยง
I can answer the question during I waiting for
ที่มี
staff to
การเฝ้าระวังป้องกัน
พอมีการท่องเที่ยวขึ้นมาเนี่ยมันเหมือนว่าเราต้องรับผิดชอบมากขึ้น เราก็ต้องหาวิธีว่าเราจะช่วยเขายังไงเราจะ
ไม่ออกทางนู้นทางนู้น
โดนได้ยังไงบ้างอะไรเงี้ยหรือว่าถ้าเขาโดนแล้ว
แชร์หน่อยสิ
ได้ยังไง
ถ้าสามารถโดนต่อหน้าจากที่นั้นหรือเปล่าครับรู้สึกให้เหมือนกับว่าแยกมีพิษกับในภูมิไฟเนี่ยเมื่อก่อนเขาคิดว่ามีแค่2ประเภทถ้าทำได้ประมาณนั้นก็น่าจะถึงเป้าหมายในระดับที่คนบางคนแล้วก็แก้ปัญหาได้
และสิ่งสำคัญอีกอย่างคือภาคีเครือข่ายตั้งแต่ระดับชุมชนจนถึงระดับประเทศและต่างประเทศในการร่วมกันป้องกันและสร้างองค์ความรู้เพื่อแก้ปัญหาและผลักดันเข้าสู่นโยบายระดับประเทศต่อไป
during waiting for the video do you have any question first I can answer video is only 3 minutes but I think it's important to give you some idea
ต้องจะให้เผยแพร่ไปสู่ไม่ว่าใครก็ตามที่ได้ชมเรื่องนี้หรือคนที่เกี่ยวข้องต่างๆประเด็นที่2คือเรื่องของความยั่งยืนนะคะก็ถ้ามีผู้ประกอบการผู้อยู่หน้าหาดหรือหน่วยงานที่เกี่ยวข้องต่างๆได้มีการลงทำมีเสาน้ำส้มสายชูนะคะตะข่ายถ้าสามารถวางตะข่ายป้องกันไอตัวแมงกะพรุนได้ก็จะเป็นประเด็นแล้วก็สร้างความนอกจากนั้นแล้วเนี่ยยังเป็น
Hello can you hear me Hello can you hear me
Yes, Prof. We can hear you.
I can see the screen right now, but you can ask the question. I think the video will coming soon. So what is the question?
Ifa,
Okay, can you see me now?
Yes.
Can you allow me to share the video now?
yes, please, Prof.
Okay, would you please let me share the video screen?
Yes, Prof. You can play the video.
Need to move the mobile phone away from the speaker.
Share video มาครับทุกคนแชร์กันแชร์คอนเทนต์เลย
แชร์เลย
ต้องลงได้แชร์
I already in the mode that ready to share. Can you allow me to share the video? Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, Prof. You can share the video anytime.
Or if you don't have time, you can. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you, Prof. Lakana. We can hear you very clearly.
Okay. Right now, I'm ready. Sorry for that. Share video. I think right now it's ready. Sorry for this. Can you see the video now?
Yes,
Okay.
but we cannot hear the sound.
องค์ความรู้ที่ถูกต้องจึงเป็นสิ่งสำคัญที่นำไปสู่แนวทางรักษาและเฝ้าระวังป้องกันการบาดเจ็บและเสียชีวิตจากแมงกระพรุนพิษด้วยวิธีการปฐมพยาบาลเบื้องต้นอย่างถูกต้องและเหมาะสม
ช่วยยังไงที่จะไม่ทำให้มันรุนแรง
จึงควรมีการจัดอบรมให้ความรู้เกี่ยวกับอันตรายจากแมงกระพรุนพิษและการปฐมพยาบาลแก่ผู้เกี่ยวข้องไม่ว่าจะเป็นแพทย์พยาบาลหน่วยกู้ชีพอาสาสมัครสาธารณสุขเจ้าหน้าที่รักษาความปลอดภัยบริเวณชายหาดครูและประชาชนทั่วไปที่พักอาศัยทำมากินในพื้นที่เสี่ยงรวมถึงการสื่อสารความเสี่ยงนี้กับผู้มีส่วนได้เสียและภาคีเครือข่ายที่มีส่วนสนับสนุนในการเฝ้าระวังป้องกัน
พอมีการท่องเที่ยวขึ้นมาเนี่ยมันเหมือนว่าเราต้องรับผิดชอบมากขึ้นนะเราก็ต้องหาวิธีว่าเราจะช่วยเขายังไงเราจะป้องกันไม่ให้เขาโดนได้ยังไงบ้างอะไรเงี้ยหรือว่าถ้าเขาโดนแล้วเนี่ยเราจะมีวิธีช่วยเหลือเขาได้ยังไง
ถ้าสามารถอบรมต่อเนื่องจนคนรู้สึกให้เหมือนกับว่าแยกแมงกะพรุนที่ไม่มีพิษกับแมงกะพรุนไฟเนี่ยเมื่อก่อนเขาคิดว่ามีแค่2 ประเภทถ้าทำได้ประมาณนั้นก็น่าจะถึงเป้าหมายในระดับที่คนทั่วไปรับรู้แล้วก็แก้ปัญหาได้
และสิ่งสำคัญอีกอย่างคือภาคีเครือข่ายตั้งแต่ระดับชุมชนจนถึงระดับประเทศและต่างประเทศในการร่วมกันเฝ้าระวังป้องกันและสร้างองค์ความรู้เพื่อแก้ปัญหาและผลักดันเข้าสู่นโยบายระดับประเทศต่อไป
มันเป็นหน้าตาและก็ภาพลักษณ์ของประเทศนะคะในการที่เราจะสร้างระบบสาธารณสุขที่ดีเพื่อที่จะรองรับปัญหาตัวนี้ค่ะ
สิ่งที่อยากจะฝากนะคะมีอยู่2 เรื่องด้วยกันนะคะเรื่องแรกก็คือเรื่องความรู้ที่ถูกต้องที่อยากจะให้เผยแพร่ไปสู่ไม่ว่าใครก็ตามที่ได้ชมเรื่องนี้หรือคนที่เกี่ยวข้องต่างๆประเด็นที่2คือเรื่องของความยั่งยืนนะคะก็ถ้ามีผู้ประกอบการผู้อยู่หน้าหาดหรือหน่วยงานที่เกี่ยวข้องต่างๆได้มีการลงทำมีเสาน้ำส้มสายชูนะคะมีตะข่ายถ้าสามารถวางป้องกันไอตัวแมงกะพรุนได้เนี่ยก็จะเป็นประเด็นที่ดีอย่างยิ่งแล้วก็สร้างความยั่งยืนแล้วนอกจากนั้นแล้วเนี่ยยังเป็นผลดีต่อการท่องเที่ยวกับผู้ประกอบการต่างๆบางครั้งเนี่ยชีวิตของคนเราเนี่ยมันเท่ากับน้ำส้มสายชูเพียงขวดเดียวจริงๆOkay, any question? Sorry for this technical problem. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. But we cannot hear our moderator. Ifa, where are you, Ifa?
Any question? I can answer now.
Okay, currently while Ifa is trying to sort out her audio problem, let me take over some of the question.
Okay.
It was posed by Chiho. The question is there any record of people in Thailand eating box jellyfish? Because in Sabah, that means in Borneo, it is commonly collected and eaten by the local coastal community. What is your opinion on that, Prof. Lakana?
Okay, we have case investigation and a few years ago. They ate box jellyfish and they have a symptom and problem because box jellyfish they have nematocysts, the stinging organism in the tentacle, but also in other part of the body of jellyfish.
So this is very rare case, and we recommend them not to eat it.
Okay, thank you. The next question posed by Ephraim from Philippines. He wants to know more about stinger nets. His question is, do you leave the stinger nets in the sea or remove them when the beachgoers are gone?
Oh, okay. This one is even in other place, we not put the stinger nets all year round. Only in the seasonal, because the stinger net itself was damaged by wave, trash from anywhere, and it needs people to monitor and also repair the stinger net. It also needs to take care whether there any jellyfish inside the net. So this one is regular work. If it is low season, it's not cost effectiveness. It's more expensive to maintain and need people to maintain. And people will have a false security. I think if you put the stinger net, you need another 2 components, lifeguard, or the one who can practice and help people around there. And second one is the vinegar pole or a station for vinegar. People can help them. That is the important one. Not only stinger net.
Okay. There's another question also pertaining to stinger net from Patrick. We have noted that in some case, even if the beach has the stinger net, the jellyfish still manages to go inside the nets. Is there a guideline on placing of nets? How big the holes or what is the height of the net?
The simple thing is that the upper border is above the sea. The lower border attached to the floor of the sea. So you need to make sure that this net is really attached to the floor, because even that the current will push it away. And on the top, it should be thicker and very stronger to hold the upper part of the net. The jellyfish cannot jump. They swim because they have some string up like this. And this is important. In the middle between that, you have to take care of the net, no tear, no nothing. That is why I said, if you put, you have the big responsibility to check and monitor this.
Oh, okay. And then there's one question posted from Ong Han. He was asking, is wearing aqua long sleeves can prevent from jellyfish sting?
Okay, this one is a good question. Even I used to be a scuba diver. Previously, I wear like a aerobic suit, because the wetsuit is expensive. As far as I know, it's based on your box jellyfish in your country. If the nematocysts, when they filing, they will have thread. So if this one, the one that's filing, is shorter than the thick of the cloth, it's fine. So it depends. In Thailand, if you wear like this, they have no case that report by stinger net that penetrate. The stinger organism, we call nematocysts, penetrate beyond the wetsuit. However, one case that we found, he wear the wetsuit. During he take off the wetsuit, the tentacle outside the wetsuit attached to his elbow, and he collapsed. This one is serious, and he have cardiac enzyme increase, and have to bring to the emergency room. So one of our clinical practice guidelines is that when you have the injury, do not take off the cloth, but cut it and put into the trash. Cut all the cloth that they wear. So this one is two things. One, if it is attached outside, you can see it, and when you take it off, it may attach to your skin and start to filing, trigger the nematocyst, nematocyst and filing. And this one is another question from the military. They want to know how thick of the cloth for the Marine soldier to wear. This is one of another our upcoming research to answer this question. Hello?
Okay, can you hear me? Yeah, thank you,
Yes.
Prof. Lakana. One question, last one for you from Dr. Ahmad Kaudon. Any campaign in Thailand to promote Bring Vinegar to the Beach campaign, the promotion of the public appropriate safety seeking behavior and appropriate health seeking behavior to the public? Do you have that in Thailand too?
Actually, we encourage and we make the community respond. So this vinegar product is installed along the beach, and the one who should take care or monitor or put into the vinegar is the villager or people who live along the beach. Most of the time is from the resorts or hotels. However, from other medias, we still encourage, because sometimes the vinegar ran out or someone just take it out, so you just carry the vinegar with you. Sometimes it's good luck in Thailand, because along the beach in Thailand we have many restaurants. Many cases of us can find the vinegar from the restaurant because it is edible vinegar type, 4 to 6 acetic acid, and that is why the final way is that we just run to the nearest restaurant and ask for vinegar. But most of the time I really encourage, because it's the severe cases take around 2 minutes, they collapse at the beach, so it's very fast. The vinegar should be installed near the beach.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Lakana. I think I have one question on the anti-venom. This can be open to Prof. Lakana, Dr. Patrick, or Dr. Maha. The question is from Risman: is there other anti-venom available other than those developed from Chironex Fleckeri? And then from IFA, asking if about the anti-venom for countries who have yet to obtain anti-venom, what should we be considering? Can I have any of the medical experts here telling us about this question, answering this question, please? Dr.
Okay.
Patrick, you want to answer, or Dr. Lakana? Yes, Dr. Lakana.
Okay, just in my opinion, this antivenom, as far as I know, is a species-specific one. Second, it's expensive. Third, it should be applied as fast as you can. So in practical, in Thailand, right now we identify only one species. And we have only 8 dead cases, and the last 2 is like a few years ago. So we think we try to promote the vinegar or prevention first. And anti-venom is something that all the medical have to know. Right now, this box jellyfish knowledge is not in the curriculum of medical, not in the general in school of medicine. So it's very difficult in practical.
Okay.
Anything?
Yeah, Patrick or Dr. Maha, you want to add on to that question?
Yeah, because in my country, not anti-venom available. And the preventive and promotive is very important, I think.
Okay. Patrick? I think he's
Okay, can I add a little bit more?
Yes, please,
According
Prof.
to the
Lakana.
according to the first aid, based on our experience later on, we found that many severe
Same,
cases can
yeah,
survive
same in the
with
Philippines.
vinegar pouring and
We really have, yeah.
Yeah, like if what Ifa has raised, all of us are facing the same issues of no antivenom. What is the best option we have?
I think based on my experience, if you are really help in for first aid appropriately, as far as I experience, many severe cases survive. If you can survive 10 minutes at the beach, most of the time you survive at the hospital. So first aid at the beach is important, and vinegar is important for pouring, but don't do any harm, because if they scratch or do anything that trigger the nematocyst, that one is a worst case, more severe case. But once you survive from the beach, most of the time, almost, I not say 100, they survive. So
Okay,
focus on first aid. In my experience, I think first aid is important.
Yeah, I know, because that's why this webinar brings in more experts from the medical side, because the science part, eventually I think we're still looking into it on the biodiversity, on the distribution, and what causes the bloom. But what is immediate urgency is the medical knowledge and the awareness. So I would like, since we do not, the time is not permit, and I feel it's a really good sharing. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the speakers for sharing their knowledge and experiences. It is really very insightful and very useful to all of us. I would also like to not forget Ifa. She's with us, but it's just that our moderator, our dear moderator, she's with us. It's just that she couldn't get her audio activated. I would like to thank her also for a job well done in moderating the webinar. We sincerely hope that we can move forward together in learning more and creating more awareness among the public. Feel free to go into CIMEX website, because we'll be sharing information. If you have anything more to share, please do contact any of us. And I would once again would like to thank all the staff who is behind the scene, who is making all these things happen. Sim and Nitya, who is with us. And I would like to thank all the audience from all over the places who is attending the webinar with us. And it's really interesting to listen to all. And thank you all. And please do stay safe and take care. Thank you very much to everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, all speakers. Yeah, thank you very much.
Everyone.
Safe. Yeah.
Yeah, please stay
Thank you.
safe, Prof. Dr. Maha. All right, take care, everyone. And thank you very much for all the time being spent here. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. สวัสดีค่ะ
Bye.